Tony, we've had this conversation before over the last couple of years, but 20,000 is a pretty significant milestone, I would suggest.
Yes, it is, Nigel. The numbers do keep going up, don't they? And as you say, you continue to report this, although it's not being widely reported across the media, nor was it widely reported, Nigel, that 3 people sadly lost their lives last week off the East Coast. Somalis in a small dinghy which overturned, and God knows how they finished up there. But this is just tragic that we can't seem to get any, as you say, any end in sight in terms of agreeing with our colleagues in France. What are we going to do to stop this? Because it cannot be a good thing that people are travelling on dangerous waters, and you know better than me what it's like out there. I've seen your reports. You've been out there yourself. I don't know how many people have drowned, Nigel. I suspect a lot more than we're hearing about, if we do ever hear about it. And the migrant smugglers are winning. That cannot be a good thing, surely, politically, on either side of the channel. Yet we can't seem to reach agreement with France on what we're going to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, the gangs are making millions of euros every week, particularly in calm weeks. Of that, there is no doubt. And look, I mean, Tony, we've got a problem with the French over this. We've got a problem with the French over fishing. We've got a problem with the French over the Northern Ireland Protocol. And I can't see the French signing any agreement with us. So we're going to have to get tough. But firstly, Tony, to my question. Do you think I'm right? Do you think Priti Patel is right, particularly given those figures released today, that 74% of those that came last year were young, single men, 87% of the total male? Surely the vast majority of these would not qualify as refugees.
Yeah, the refugee system doesn't work like that, Nigel. Unfortunately, it's not really a simple question of economic status versus refugee status. It's to do with where they're from. Yeah. And actually, a lot of the refugees, they are, as you say, young men. But actually, their country of origin is from a country where, returns are remarkably difficult. So, many would say that actually, because they are from places like Somalia, Ethiopia, Iraq, actually, they should be given asylum. But as we've discussed before, that's not really the point. The point is that many, as I understand it, many of the migrants that are arriving, Nigel, have been living in Europe for some considerable time now, and could and probably have sought asylum there, and may well have got asylum there had they sought it, but they want to come here. They want to live here, and they are being encouraged to make the journey, because they are seeing what you said, that we aren't removing anybody back again. And the only way to reverse this trend, to stop the boats, is to break the business model, which means we have to send people back to France. But doing that is really difficult without the agreement of the French. And then when we say, well, if we can't send them back to France, well, where are we going to send them to? So they are looking in legislation. Well, there are other safe countries that might be prepared to take them back, that maybe they passed through on the way here, that would be prepared to take them back. We might find some that would, but returning them to their source country, which clearly these are countries that are suffering from government disruption, they're failed states. They can make a very, very sound case, Nigel, even though they're young men, that I can't go back there because it's a failed state and I would suffer persecution if I did so. And this is the dilemma that the caseworkers find themselves in.
But Tony, we know, don't we, that the traditional definition of a refugee is, somebody in fear of their life or their liberty because of their opinions, their ethnicity. In modern days, it would be sexuality. We know what those criteria are. And of all the countries in Europe, of all the countries in the world, over the centuries, we've been open to people in that dilemma. We can't simply say, because Somalia and Sudan aren't very nice countries with unstable governments, that our doors are open to tens of millions.
No, I think the problem is that, Europe itself has significant migratory problems, Nigel, as you will know. And actually, my colleague in the US gave a speech just last week, former commissioner of the CBP, that they're now getting 200 an hour, Nigel, the caravan people on the southern coast, children are being used as pawns. They're not actually belonging to the adult. But of course, with a child, it's impossible for the Americans, as you know, you've been over there too, so they are facing record numbers actually on the southern border in the States. We are now facing record numbers across the channel, and the EU themselves are hanging on to a very fragile agreement with Turkey, which is due for renewal in February 22. And that's not going well. And if that falls over, I'm afraid they're going to see significant more migratory pressures into the Schengen zone. And more of those will head up to northern France, because they know that if they can get to northern France and they can find someone to give €500 to, €5,000 is nearer the mark,
that's one.
They're going to be able to get into the UK. And when they're in the UK, they're not going to be sent back. So you can see where this is headed. I'm afraid it feels the border force, I think, at the moment feel helpless, Nigel, because they're not empowered.
And yet Priti Patel, since August 2019, has been promising us it's all about to end. Tony Smith, I've no doubt will speak to you when it hits 25,000 before the end of the year. Thank you once again for coming on. Well, I understand what Tony's saying, but to me, a genuine refugee is somebody in fear of their life. And these are young men, and they're coming here to make money. Most of them will make it, of course, in the illegal economy, which I'm sorry to say continues to thrive in this country.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.